Look what came in the mail just when you see it the day before yesterday. So I'm really trying to get this video up as soon as possible. I ordered the complete new collection of Odens Eye Christmas palettes. That means we have the Snow Dream and Hey Reindeer palette that I will be using in this video. But we have also two completely sealed Christmas palettes from last year that will be featured in a giveaway. So make sure that you follow me on Instagram because I will do the giveaway over there. And it will start December 1st and I think I might do it until December 10th. So I still have enough time to send them out so you can get them before Christmas. Just a little spoiler, there will be two winners. That means one will win the Christmas Eve and one will win the Merry Christmas. That was a tongue twister. As per usual in those videos, the first part of the video is going to be a tutorial with the Snow Dream palette, and then we will head over to a tutorial with the Hey Reindeer palette. This eye look, by the way, is from the Snow Dream palette. Just a little disclaimer, because I got some messages regarding that, and I got even some comments way back, like it's not a thing anymore, but I always use an eye primer, no matter what. I don't care if you don't use eye primers. I use eye primers because at the end of the day, there is a big car outside. No, but at the end of the day, I have to wear these palettes also outside YouTube and outside social media. I will not change up my routine. Besides the eye primer that I also powder down, I know usually you don't do that, but I have the feeling that it does do a difference for me when it comes to blendability of eyeshadow. Powder down primer works better for me. On top of that, I always use a glitter glue. It does not matter if it's Odens Eye, Dior or Isamaya. I always use glitter glue. The one that I currently use is the Too Faced glitter glue, but I can also recommend you the NYX glitter glue. I have that one too and it's like equally good. Yes, I do recommend a drugstore product. Like, who is she? What the fuck happened? Depending on the shades, I sometimes also pull in some Max Fix Plus to spray the brushes, otherwise you will end up with a lot of fallout. Disclaimer number 2, Odens Eye palettes tend to have glitter bukkake. It does not matter what you do, even with glitter glue, and you will see it in the tutorial, glitter glue or Fix Plus, it does not matter. There is always fallout, but it's not a problem for me. If that is something that bothers you, that's completely up to you. I understand that this is something that you don't want to have. Some palettes work better with a glitter glue, so you end up with literally no fallout, but Odens Eye is not one of those. The glitter glue in this case for me is basically there to have a smoother application, because I feel like the color payoff with glitter glue is much more true to color than it would be without. At the end of the day, it's all about your personal preference. Disclaimer number 3. I know it's a long intro, but it has nothing to do with the palettes, to be honest. Thank you. Big thank you. Because of you, your interaction, and me ranting, and you loving that rant, and you watching my videos, you are the reason why I was able to join the YouTube Partner Program here in Germany. That means I am now able to make some money with YouTube. In Germany, there are 2 tiers of this YouTube Partner Program. Tier 1 is what I reached. That required at least 500 subscribers. We're at over 700. Thank you for that too. And 3,000 hours of public view time that we exceeded. Like, we really exceeded that. Plus 3 uploaded videos in the last year, but that's not really a thing that you can call an accomplishment. I applied for that one and now I'm accepted. That means you will have here, some, I don't know what, here or here. There is a new button for you that is called, I think, the thanks button or thank you or super thanks, something like that. That is a method for you to just give money. Just say it as it is. You can give a thank you for the content in form of a payment. I think when I tested it, it starts at $2 and goes up to a maximum of 500. If you do use this thank you thing to donate money, that means you get something like extra in the comments, you are like highlighted especially, something like that. If you do that, I am very, very happy and very thankful for that. That is a wonderful support of my channel, but please do not feel pressure to do this. The other thing that I can do now with this tier 1 partnership is I can give you a paid subscription to my channel. You probably have seen this already with a lot of YouTubers. They do have like this monthly memberships where you pay starting like 99 cents up to I think $50 or so. Like, it can be super expensive. And then you have access to special content or extra meetings or special comments or pre-seeing videos, something like that. I will not be doing this. The reason behind that is at the moment very, very simple. I do provide at least 5 long videos a week, and some weeks it was 4, other weeks it's 6, but I try to stay at this number of 5. Throughout the whole December there will be 31 videos. I work full time. That means all of this filming I do either before work and get up at 3 a.m. or I do on the weekends, and I do have to do my university stuff too. But long story short, what I want to say is I don't have time to push in another video that you have to pay for, and I also don't want to cut down my schedule to 4 or 3 videos so that you have to pay for the 2 other ones. That's not what I want. So when it comes to that part of the tier partner program, I will not be using the paid memberships for now. Then there is a second tier when I reach 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of public view time. That's the moment when I can put ads into my videos, like the short ads, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever. But I have not reached that tier. So I'm working towards that tier so that I can also make money just off of you watching a video when there is an ad. If you have a YouTube Premium account, I can also make money from that because you don't have ads with YouTube Premium, but I still get some money as if you had ads. So if I reach that second tier, that's the best way to make money because you don't have to invest your real money. Never feel pressure to do that. If you do so, I'm very thankful. Enough of that. Let's head into the first part of the video, which is going to be the tutorial on this eye look with the Snow Dream palette. Okay, let's start with the Snow Dream palette for this part of the video, and we have already taken a sneak peek inside. Here it is. I'm not swatching it right now. I probably will upload a single swatch video that's from my Swatch Every Palette series that I kind of want to pause now. But now let's just do a bit of a tutorial. And I started with this palette because I specifically want to try the frankincense shade because this is the new holographic shade. So I'm starting this look with the shade Feast, which is a simple brown, neutral, not too warm, not too cold, or no, it's cool, not cold. And I apply this with a rather big blending brush into the crease. The shade is surprisingly sheer, it takes a bit of building. And to get this level of opaqueness, I now applied 2 layers and a half layer on this eye too, so it's not as packing as I thought it is, which is not a critique. I like that. I'm now tapping into the shade Guests, which is once again a red in a Christmas palette. How innovative? Innovative? How surprising. Nobody thought this could happen. But I take this shade on my outer third. I use a fluffy small blending brush, and I do also blend it a tad bit into the crease. When you do your eyes before the face, you can work really messy. I will wipe that just off. I'm now tapping into Good Yule, which is the darkest brown in this palette, or in general, it's the darkest matte shade that you get. And I use this more on the outer part of the lid. I just want to deepen up that red area here. It will not have so much of an impact, but it will just create a better gradient in the colors. At least in my head, that makes sense. This is actually a really nice warm brown. I do have a problem with too warm browns because usually they end up looking like a bit of poo. But this one has a nice warm undertone. Or maybe it's just because it mixes very well with the red. I don't know. I kind of want to use this matte yellow too, the Garland shade. So let me grab a small pencil brush. That's not a pencil brush. That's too small. I don't have glasses on, I don't see the brushes. That's fine. Is it a pencil brush? It's a small stiff blender. And I tap into the garland shade now. And I apply this basically on the inner crease part. And I flick it like slightly up and outwards. I still want to have something of this first brown peeking through, but mainly it was just a transition to create a better base for the upcoming colors. And I have to admit that this garland shade is kind of a nice muted yellow. I like this. It's not as neon as most of the Odens eye shades are, and in general, this palette is more of a muted version, like a muted Christmas vibe. Even the Snowflake shade, which is a pastel, is not punch pastel, it's muted pastel. And I think what I will now do is I take the Tradition shade on the outer third, Frankincense in the center, and Mary in the inner part. I think that could work very, very well. And then maybe Hugs or Sweater as inner corner and or brow bone highlight. So I'm starting with Tradition. This is a really traditional burned copper red shade. It's nothing that you might not have already, but it's kind of matching into this palette. This looks like a German cent coin, this color. Kind of beautiful. I'm now tapping into Mary first, and I start applying this on this inner part. This is one of the Odens Eye flaky shades that tend to build up kind of weird and crack quite easy. If you have ever tried Odens Eye eyeshadows, you probably know what I mean. To be honest, I do not have a solution for that besides being careful and not over apply and overbuild that shade. Alright, so the center is still bare, and now let's head into Frankincense. And yes, I do use the same brush because I'm a lazy fuck. And I load up the brush a bit. It actually looks just like a classic silver. But let's now carefully tap this in the center. I hope you can see, sometimes the camera recognizes my ghost face mirror as a face, which it is a face, but could you please not focus on that face, camera? Thank you, it's not real. I'm tapping back into the Tradition shade and tap a bit over this kind of border so that we have a better gradient from the red to the Frankincense shade. To be honest, not much of a holographic vibe is going on. I can't see any of holographic specs, like, okay, a tiny bit. And yes, I do have a lot of fallout on my face, but that's usually the case with Odens Eye, so it's not specifically this shade. So I just turned down the lights a bit and filmed the video with my phone so you can see the holo specs better. To be honest, I have better holo shades. You can work on that, Odens Eye. And I had to go on the website and read the shade descriptions because I was not able to detect the holographic shade without the shade descriptions. That's also a bit like, I don't know. It says a lot. You know me, whenever I do videos like that, I want to use as many shades as possible. So I'm starting with the Good Yule shade again for the lower lash line. I had to flick off a shocking amount of fallout, but again, when you do your eyes before face, it's not a big deal. But just so you know, for me, it's actually not a big deal. I don't care because a spoolie flicks it off and then I just wipe it off with a makeup wipe. So I don't care about fallout. But I know it's something very important for a lot of other people. I'm now tapping into the Ornament shade, which is a very muted, like army green even. I think that's a nice description. And I blend this on the inner part of the lower lash line and then flick it outwards on top of the Good Yule shade. My eyes look like a Christmas tree, which is actually what I want. So I'm now using the shade Hugs, and I apply this as inner corner highlight, and I will later then also use it as brow bone highlight. But you will not see this in the video because I do my brow bone highlight after I've done my brows. but you see how it applies here. Really pretty, to be honest. This is a nice white gold shade. I really like this. It's super fitting in the vibe. And since this is also a more flaky formulation, you might have seen me dipping back in. I try to pick up not so much of product, and I rather dip back 5 times to build up the color than having super flaky glitter now on my face. I will now finish the rest of the face, and then let's talk about the Snow Dream palette. Okay, so this is now the first finished look with the Snow Dream palette, and I managed to use 9 shades out of those 16 ones. To be honest, this is one of the few looks where I can actually tell that I have used a lot of different shades, because even with the blend in the crease, I can kind of see this gradient from the Garland to the Feast shade to the red. I don't see so much the Gudule shade, which was the dark brown, but that's okay. That was not there to be visible, it was just there to deepen. I will put up a close-up picture of this eye look right up here. It's also on my Instagram account if you want to go back and admire my work. But I have to say, the most disappointed kind of I am so far in the Frankincense shade, because I really thought this is now a nice holo shade. I do have other holo chromes or holo eyeshadows. There is one shade from Lethal Cosmetics that's called Bismuth. That's like the same level of disappointment, to be honest, because I don't see the holo. But if you look into indie brands like, for example, Glam Shop PL, if you don't know them, it's a Polish indie brand. They do have a whole lineup of holo shades. They are really holoing, like they're holoing the shit out of your eyes. There is still potential, like it's not top level yet. Everything else, I have to admit, I love. I am very surprised that this palette is much better than I initially thought. And now let's head over to the second part of the video for the Hey Reindeer tutorial. This palette actually is more of a challenge to me when I look at, so let's try and create something. Do you know what it is that challenged me so hard in this palette? This orange. It is just this orange. I get that, like, you know, complementary blue, orange, complementary shades, color wheel, remember? But it throws me off. Instead of an orange, they could have put in here a black, actually. I think a black could have changed the whole color story for the better. But I tried to create a look, and we start with Cider, this beautiful light blue shade. So Cider into the crease, but with the fluffiest blending brush that I own, because I just want to have a tiny bit of that blue going on. And to be honest, this is a beautiful blue. This is like a like an ice blue, beautiful. I want to have this beautiful ice blue base going on for the look. Honestly, this ice blue is stunning. I can totally imagine wearing this just as matte inner corner. Like, yes, I matte inner corner. Who is she? I'm now tapping into the Holly shade, and I apply this into the crease and in the outer V area. I'm now tapping into the Reindeer shade. Very nice, cool toned pink. And I apply this on the inner crease part and flick that into the blue. By the way, the Hey Reindeer palette does not have a holo shade like the Snow Dream. This one has one multi-chrome, and to be honest, I don't see it. It's Candy Canes. A pink multi-chrome, sweet and enchanting like candy canes hung on a tree. I could leave it like that. This is a very frosty, wintry pastel look. I'm a bit afraid that if I use this dark brown now, the Snow Wish shade, that it might look too harsh. I will be using Greetings, which might look nice because mixed with that blue, it could turn into a darker purple. And I use it on the smallest pencil brush or blending brush that I own. This is the Refer number 13 mini, and I apply this in the outer V area. Oh, but we can fix that. It does not work the way I thought it would be, because the shade is actually super pigmented, so it's more covering everything up rather than mixing and let it shine through. But we can fix that because I'm taking the brush again and use Holly again and just blend over the edge. The good thing with eyeshadow is if you fuck up, just blend the shit out of it, because at some point it either blends away or blends together. Okay, but I think overall this gradient comes together now. I'm now tapping into Wrath, which is a beautiful gray-based purple. And I really hope that it does look as good as it does in the pan. Because I feel like, yes. This is nearly the same shade that we created in the crease here, but with shimmer. Oh, that's pretty. Just in the outer third or like outer half area, basically where this grayish blue blend is. That's a very, very pretty shade. And that's not one of those flaky shimmer shades. This is more smooth. To be honest, this has more of a transparent base, so you might need a bit of building. For the rest of the lid, I'm going, of course, into candy canes, because if we have a multi-chrome, I have to use that multi-chrome. It has an overspray again. I hate oversprays. And now let's apply this on this inner part. And I'm also tapping this here where it meets with the Wrath shade. This shade is a very, very thin formulation. This is not as the typical Odens eye multi-chromes that are in this more flaky, kind of thick formula. This is much, much thinner. This reminds me of texture-wise, I mean, it's kind of a weird comparison. But you know, when you touch a thick indie brand shimmer, sometimes it's flaky. You can feel like there is some kind of binding component. While, for example, when you touch a Makeup by Mario shimmer, the thin ones from the Ethereal palette, they are impactful, but they feel like air. And this is actually the vibe that I get from the Candy Cane shade, and that is something good. So for the lower lash line, I want to keep that cool vibe. I was thinking of doing something complementary with the orange, but I kind of dig this. So I will start with the Holly shade again. And I do smudge that like until the center, you know what I mean? Starting on the outside and then stop in the center. And then I go into the Reindeer shade and I start smudging that in the center and flick it inwards. I think for the lower lash line, we can take something deep. So I'm taking now Snow Wish on a very, very thin, straight, whatever brush, kind of liner or press into the lashes brush. And I very, very gently rub this along the lash line, like directly along the lash line. I don't want to have that blended out too far down. And I also take some of that shade and press that into the lashes. And then I take the brushes that I use to blend the other colors, but with no additional pigment. And I just basically smudge on top of that dark shade. In my head, those descriptions make sense, but when I talk and when I then add it, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? But I think you can see what I do. This little bit of brown gave just a big, big much of dimension in my opinion. I do want to have something colorful, like extra colorful, either a liner or I thought of blue mascara for the lower lash line. Could be too bright because it's a very intense blue. This is, by the way, from Glisten Cosmetics, the Spectra Lash in the shade Sea Blue. You know what? For the lower lash lines, I will be doing a white mascara and the Rabanne Glitter Top Coat. Christmas Tree is a very obvious inner corner highlight, and I will use that shade, but as brow bone highlight. And for my inner corner, Eggnog, Sleigh, or Christmas Stocking. I don't know. I think Eggnog can give a nice punch because it is so yellow, and with the shift of the Candy Cane shade, that could work. So let's go with the Eggnog shade. This could either fuck it up or be a nice idea. It was a nice idea. To be honest, it barely happens that you fuck up an inner corner because even a dark inner corner can look really, really good. Okay, I will now finish the eyes and then I come back with my final thoughts on the Hey Reindeer palette and some final thoughts on both palettes combined. Okay, this is now the final look with the Hey Reindeer palette, and I'm going through a major deja vu right now because I feel like I have created this look already, and I checked on my Instagram and I did. I created nearly the exact same look with the Gloss Gods Lavender Skies palette. I don't have that palette anymore because I decluttered it because it was too bright purple, but I was just shocked that I created the exact same, like even the yellow inner corner I did with the Gloss Gods palette, with the Hey Reindeer palette. And let me pull that side by side, okay, when I do it like that, I will pull a picture of the Gloss Gods palette up here, and you can see they are not similar at all. So the question I ask myself now is, how could that happen? It's definitely not the fault of the palette, don't get me wrong, because the color story of the Gloss Gods one and this one is completely different. It's just the way I combined colors. And I'm pretty sure, or like I can see that from the color story with the red, the orange, this area and the darker ones. You can go in completely different directions. I was just like, what happened? So overall, I like this palette. I don't know if I like it more than Snow Dream because I'm honest with you, I'm a bit thrown off by the fact that I created the exact same look as with the Gloss Gods Lavender Skies that I decluttered because of the too monochromatic purple vibe. I think I can go in a different direction, so it's completely my fault, but as of now, I would say I have to play with this more. So I hope you can see the palettes. I think, for me, in my opinion, they are different enough so that you can see a clear, complete different vibe in the color stories. This one is more of a muted pastel Christmas tree vibe, whilst this one is a muted winter vibe. But when we talk about Odens Christmas palettes, we also have to talk about last year's palettes. So here you have the Merry Christmas one on top from last year and the Snow Dream from this year. Besides the obvious red, there is not much in common. Same when you compare it with the Hey Reindeer palette, besides an obvious orange placement, but in this one it's a matte, and the Merry Christmas one it's shimmer, nothing in common. So when we now compare Christmas Eve with the Hey Reindeer palette, I see some similarities, but just in the fact that you have a slightly icy vibe in the Hey Reindeer one, while Christmas Eve is truly like winter ice palette. In general, I see some similarities in the blue tones, like the Ivy shade and the Nightfall shade. They have different undertones and depth, but they have kind of a very similar vibe. Yeah, it's a blue shimmer. Here you have different blue shimmers. I don't think you will be able to create this exact look. This one is a softer version of the Christmas Eve one. And compared with Snow Dream, let's be honest, absolutely nothing in common. I already addressed it a couple times that I'm not a big fan that they brought back the two palettes from last year, mainly for the reason because I feel like it's a big cash grab. They made a huge amount of money just from selling out this last year, and they try to cash you once more with these palettes. Oh my god. There is another reason why I think they brought back these palettes, and that sounds maybe a bit rude, but I think they knew that these year's palettes will not hold up against these two. And I think that's kind of a common opinion as far as I've seen on a lot of reviews. They love the old palettes much more than they do the two new ones. These two palettes are much more playful in my opinion. It starts with the packaging. Is it a cute packaging? Yes, but it's a little bit of a childish packaging, I like the snowman, I like the reindeer, and I think it's pretty nice artwork. Don't get me wrong, but the artwork on this is much, much better. It's festive, it's beautiful, and it's simple, even though it's on both the Christmas tree, but on both it's like this sophisticated, grown-up vibe, while this one has a more playful, teeny vibe. I think at the end of the day, it's a lot about personal preference with these palettes. I personally prefer these ones over these ones. Quality-wise, they don't have to hide. They are very good quality as per usual. As I said, the Holo shade and the Snow Dream could be better. There's still potential to work on that, but that's nothing that they could not resolve with another formulation for the next palette, for example. Should you know, run now and buy them? No. I'd say no. If you want to get Christmas palettes, I'd say get these ones, but I saw that the Christmas Eve one is sold out. So if you want to have the chance to win it and you're from Europe, head over to my Instagram account because I will start the giveaway, as I said, December 1st. Let me know in the comments down below, did you buy these? How do you feel about them? Do you want to see more looks with them? Should I incorporate them in the reels? Let me know what you want to see. Fun fact, I already filmed my top Christmas palettes for the Alamus series, and I did it on purpose because I was 100% sure that I won't include them in there, and now that I tried both, I was right. None of these are really Christmas color stories for my personal liking, but I will explain in the ranking or in the showing best Christmas palettes what I understand as Christmas palettes, so that it makes much more sense. Don't forget to check out the info box. Don't forget, of course, to check out to subscribe because I do fun things here and I do rant a lot. I'm very honest. And I hope you stay here and I will see you in the next one.